Hey guys, it's Logan Evie, and today I'm going to be talking about the time I got my car stuck in a ditch. Anyways, so we went to Steak and Shake, we ate, it was fine, and then we decided to go to Walmart because we were bored. I think it was a Saturday night, and what else is there to do in rural Ohio? So we went to Walmart and we got one of those blind bag things of like a Disney character. And we got like the ugliest character. It was a barrel from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Sorry, Tim Burton, but he was really freaking ugly. We thought it was hilarious because we got the ugliest one, and whenever we were looking at them, we were like, I swear to God, if we get this barrel guy, I'm just gonna lose it. And we did, and it was really funny. Then it was time to go home, so as we were driving, I felt compelled to go see my friend's memorial site. So my friend Olivia passed away a month prior in a car accident, and I just really felt this urge to go look at her memorial because there was a whole bunch of like stuffed animals and flowers and all this memorable stuff at her site. So I was like, you know what, Grace, we're gonna go to Olivia's memorial site. And she's like, okay. At this time it was like 1:32 in the morning, and in my head for some reason I was like, yeah, I'm sure other people will come out and like tour memorial, like it's a Saturday night and a lot of people come here. So I got this great idea to park in the ditch, not thinking past 3 days that it was raining so hard, and I was like, oh well, it'll be fine. So I just parked in the ditch because I was like, I don't want, if another car comes down this road, I don't want it to hit my car. I was so stupid. So I pull in the ditch and I park my car. So Grace and I got out, not even thinking about it, you know, we went around, looked at her memorial, cried a bit, you know, the usual. And we just let my car sit there for like 10 minutes, maybe 15. By the time we thought it was time to go, I was like, okay, let's get in my car and leave. So we get in my car, I like put it in drive, and I wouldn't go. I was like, oh, it's fine. So I put it in reverse and try to go. And at this point, my wheels are just spinning. Like, they're just spinning, creating a huge hole in the ground. And I was like, it's fine. It's fine. So at that point, we were like, crap. Like, we're stuck. Grace gets in my driver's seat because Grace is like a lot smaller than I am. So, and I go behind the car and I start pushing. And as she's like pressing the gas, and nothing would happen. Like, I don't know why I thought I would be like super strong or something and be able to do it, but I couldn't. Obviously. What do we do now? Like, what do we do? I didn't want to call my parents at the time because I was like, well, I really don't want to wake them up for no reason. Like, I'm sure we can get it. We can get it out. And Grace felt the same way. And my phone is at like 10% at this point. And I was like, crap. And for some reason it was like February or January or something like that, but it didn't feel cold out. Like, the ground was cold, but it wasn't like snowy or anything, like, you know, typical Ohio weather. I take off my Birkenstocks and I'm barefoot, and I like go down to like my trunk and I'm like, what can I use to get this out? And the only thing in my trunk was my softball bag. So I hand Grace one of my bats and I grab the other. I use these $200 bats. $200 bats. To try to dig out my tire. Basically, I'm a idiot. I'm just a complete idiot. And I'm like, yeah, it'll work. It's like a shovel, basically, just without the shovel. So we start like hacking at the mud, trying to get the tires out. And I remember this like video that I saw on Facebook, and it was like this wooden block that you tie to your tire, and then it like rolls and then it gets stuck, and then eventually your tire can like go over it. And I was like, dude, yes, I
Dude, yes.
I need that. So I look in my trunk. There's nothing that could resemble a wooden block. So I look in my back seat. You know, my car was dirty. It was so bad. I left so much crap in it for no reason. And I was trying to look for anything that would kind of resemble a cinder block or wooden block or some sort of
rectangular cube.
And I found a box of Oreos. And I was like,
yes, this is going to work. This will do the trick.
I legitimately had an unopened box of Oreos in my back seat just in case I ever got stranded. So I took my unopened box of Oreos and put it, like, here's my tire. I put it, like, right here.
Right here.
In the mud. And I'm like, yes, this will work. I had one box of Oreos, not 4. So I don't know why I thought this would work. But I thought it would work. So Grace gets in the driver's seat and she starts like pushing on the gas and I'm like, yeah, it's totally gonna go over it. Like, it'll be fine. We can get out of this.
Wrong.
It did not work. And I was like, what do we do now? I didn't know what to do. I was scatterbrained. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's muddy. My shoes are off. My feet are covered in mud. I was like, I don't know what to do. Then Grace was like, why don't you call your parents? And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. I should probably do that. But I didn't want to call my mom and stepdad because I didn't want to wake them up because I didn't want them to be like upset that I woke them up at like 2:30 in the morning and that I wasn't at home. So I called my dad because I was like, oh yeah, my dad told me that if I ever needed him, I should call him no matter what the circumstance is. So I was like, okay. So I start calling my dad and my phone's at like 6%. And I call him, he answers, and he's like, what's up? And I was like, so my car's stuck in a ditch. He's like, what? And I'm like,
my car's in a ditch.
Like, it's stuck there. And he was like, oh, okay, well, where are you? And I was like, okay, so it's a road called Orphans Road, and you're gonna go past my old school, because I moved schools. And I was like, you're gonna go past the school and turn left, take another left, the first left on Orphans. And he was like, okay, I'll see you in about 20 minutes. I was like, okay, cool. 20 minutes went by, and Grace and I were standing there in the freezing cold. We were trying to figure out if we could see his lights and know when he was coming. And every car that we saw, we were like, oh my god, it's him. And we saw about 3 cars. They never went by us, but we saw them like in the distance. And I was like, that has to be him.
That has to be him.
And they all kept going a different way. And I was like, what is my dad doing? Well, it turns out that it wasn't my dad. And we were hearing like coyotes howl. Like, we were
freaked out.
It was pitch black. Like, we were stranded on this back road at my friend's memorial site. And I was like, where's my dad? Like, where is he? It's been over 20 minutes. So I take my almost dead phone and I call him and I'm like, where are you? He's like,
I'm on Orangeburg.
I was like, what? You're on what road? He was like,
Orangeburg.
I'm like, Dad, I'm on Orphans Road. He was like,
Orangeburg?
Orphans, Dad, Orphans.
We're on Orphans Road.
And he's like,
Orangeburg?
And I'm like, no, Dad, we're on Orphans Road. He's like, I don't know where that is. You told me to go by the school and turn left. And I was like, yeah, did you turn left right at the school? And he was like,
yeah.
And I was like, then how'd you get to Orangeburg? He was like, I don't know. I turned left and then you told me to keep going straight and I don't see you girls. I'm like,
because you're on the wrong road.
And he was like, how do I get to Orphans?
I was like, I don't even know where you are right now.
I don't know where you are. I was like, just go back to 40 and then turn right next to the school. And he was like, okay. That took him another like 20 minutes to find us because he thought we were on Orangeburg, but really we were on Orphans. And I didn't know the exact address because we were literally by the woods with like no houses around. And once he got there, we were like, yes.
Woohoo!
And he gets out and he's like he started my car, tries to get it out, and he's like,
well, we're just gonna have to leave it here for the night.
And I'm like, what?
What? What?
Because I had places to be the next morning. Well, Grace and I did. We were going to a cheer competition, and I was like, what? He was like, yeah, just get in my car, I'll take you home, we'll come in the morning. And I was like,
okay.
So we're on the way home, and Dad's like, I can't believe you sent me to the wrong place, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I said orphans. He's like, I heard Orangeburg. And it was just orphans, Orangeburg, orphans, Orangeburg the entire time. Like, I don't even think they sound similar. But whatever. I mean, granted, I'm really bad at directions. So I was like, yeah, just turn left and then take another left. And he didn't do that because he's bad at directions too. That's where I get it from. And so he takes me home, and Grace and I walk in my front door, and we sit on the couch, and my mom wakes up because the dogs were barking about us getting home. And my mom texts me and goes,
where are you?
I said out loud, I was like, Mom, I'm in the living room. She's like, oh, well, where's your car? I was like,
in a ditch.
And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I got my car stuck in a ditch. And she's like, what? And I'm like,
it's in a ditch.
Like, I don't know what you want me to do. And she was like, well, how'd you get home? So I said, well, I called Dad, and he tried to get it out, and he couldn't get it out. So he just brought us back home and said that we'll get it out in the morning. And she was like,
why didn't you call me?
And I was like, I don't know, I didn't want to wake you. She's like, why? I was like, I just didn't want to wake you guys up. And so at this point, my stepdad's awake, and he's like, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And my mom says,
Logan's car is in a ditch.
He's like, what? In a ditch?
What? In a ditch?
And we're like, yep. And at this point, it's like 3 in the morning, and Jim's like,
why don't we go get it out?
And I'm like, right now? It's like 3 in the morning. He's like, right now. And I'm like,
all right.
So Grace and I get rain boots because we were both in our Birkenstocks and our feet were a complete muddy mess, and it was gross and whatever. So we put on rain boots, and this took like 30 minutes because my mom and stepdad had to get dressed. And I texted my dad, and I was like, well, we're on our way to go pick up my car now, because Jim and my mom woke up, and now they just want it out now. So, and he didn't text back. I think he was already asleep. So Jim takes his truck and like his
long cords.
And Jim was like going over to Olivia's memorial site to like set up my car and stuff and wait for us to get there so I can drive it and like pull it out and whatnot. And we're halfway there, like it's me, Grace, and my mom in the same car, and my mom's driving, and I go,
problem.
And she's like, what? And I was like, so I left my keys to my car on the kitchen table. And she's like,
Logan, are you serious?
And I'm like, well, we can't get in my car unless I have my keys. So she turns around, and we go back, and we get the keys, and then we go again. And then we get to the site, and like Jim already has it hooked up. Like we got my car and everything. At this point, it was like 3:30, 3:40-ish in the morning. And it like, so I get in my driver's seat, and I'm like trying to push on the gas as he like takes his truck and like tries to pull it out and whatnot. It honestly took forever, because with me trying to spin my wheels while it's in the ditch, dig it out with a shovel, aka my softball bats, and using a box of Oreos. Honestly, it was freaking
crazy.
It was stupid, but I'm terrible with cars, so what else was I supposed to do? And so then we finally get it out, and we look at where my car was, and I was like, holy crap. It was like a foot or so in the ground. Like, it was so far down there.
So far down there.
Because I'm an idiot. So we finally go home, and like I'm driving home, and my car is spitting up mud.
Spitting up mud.
Like my tires have mud all in them. Every single second I'm driving, there's like just mud flinging everywhere, getting on my windshield, getting on my windows, getting on the mirror, like just everywhere. Like my car was completely covered in mud. It honestly looked like I went mudding, but I didn't. I got stuck in a ditch. And now to this day, I always think, oh, well, if you do something nice for someone, you're gonna get stuck in a ditch. And now I cannot pass Orangeburg Road without thinking of my dad and thinking about how he thought I was there and I wasn't. And it was a constant battle on the phone.
Orangeburg orphans. Did you say Orangeburg? I said orphans.
It's honestly hilarious thinking back now because it literally took him so long to find us. Then I get home and my parents are like, well, let's go get it out. And I'm like, okay. So, moral of the story, 1, do not park in grass after it has rained. 2, especially don't park in grass after it's rained on a slope. Literally, the slope went and my car was just chilling right there. And that was the story about the time I
got my car stuck in a ditch.
Be sure to click that like button down below and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, stay tuned because my next video will be a tutorial on this eye look. Bye guys!